In the wide open spaces of Queensland's Western Downs, a quiet heartbreak was unfolding. This is the story of Tayla Spies, a 29-year-old mother of 3 from Roma, whose sudden disappearance in early 2025 sent shockwaves through her community and left behind a trail of sorrow and unanswered questions. Tayla was full of life, a devoted mother, a sister, a daughter. Every year, without fail, she'd make the emotional trip to visit her late father's roadside memorial. It was a deeply personal tradition. But in 2025, that visit never happened. And that's when her family knew something wasn't right. On the morning of February 2nd, Tayla was last seen leaving the Windsor Hotel in Dalby at 8 a.m., carrying a large red and white spotted bag. She wore a pink long-sleeved shirt and a light-colored shorts. But now, for the first time, we have a clearer look at her movements thanks to newly released CCTV footage obtained by A Current Affair. The footage shows Tayla alone, calm, filling up her white 2017 Toyota Hilux with diesel at the only service station in the tiny town of Condamine, about an hour southwest of Dalby. It's quiet, peaceful. This would be the last time she was ever captured on camera. From there, detectives believe Tayla drove another 90 minutes southwest to the small town of Surat. She met with friends just north of town, and later, her partner. Her vehicle, a dual-cab Toyota Hilux, was again captured on CCTV driving down Surat's main street. And then, she was gone. No more sightings, no more messages, no more signals from her phone. Around 12:10 p.m., her mobile pinged off a tower near Yulia South. After that, complete silence. And that silence was deeply uncharacteristic. Her family knew something was very, very wrong. Tayla's younger sister, Rebecca, was one of the first to raise alarm. In a heartfelt video shared widely online, she pleaded, "Tayla, if you're out there, we love you. Please come home." Her voice trembled with emotion, echoing the anguish felt by everyone who knew and loved Tayla.
My name is Rebecca Spies. I am the sister of Tayla Spies. The pain and enormity of her absence increases with each day that passes, and the worry is consuming us all.
As the hours turned into days, and then weeks, the Queensland Police launched an enormous search effort. It spanned over 9,000 square kilometres, sweeping through Surat, Yulia, Mayandara, and Glenmorgan. But Tayla and her vehicle had vanished without a trace. A family friend even offered a $5,000 reward, hoping someone might come forward with information. Then came the breakthrough. On April 3rd, 2 months after Tayla's disappearance, a local landowner spotted something on his remote property, located along Yulia Surat Road, near Norindu and bordering the Yulia State Forest. It was Tayla's Toyota Hilux. The vehicle was locked. Her personal belongings were inside, including the pink shirt and the spotted bag she was last seen carrying. And about 1 kilometer from the car, police made a devastating discovery: human remains. While formal identification was pending at the time, authorities believed it was Tayla. The landowner who found the vehicle mentioned something chilling. He was sure the car hadn't been there 2 weeks earlier, which raised even more questions. Where had the vehicle been all that time? Who left it there? And how did Tayla end up over a kilometer away from it in the bush? Investigators are still trying to piece it all together. Whether foul play is involved hasn't been confirmed. What we do know is that Tayla's final known movements, captured on CCTV and tracked by phone towers, create a haunting timeline. From Dalby to Condamine to Surat, and then into silence. Her disappearance shattered her family. Her sister Rebecca later shared, "We've lost someone who meant the world to us. We just want answers. We want peace." Tayla's story is not just about a disappearance. It's about a mother who never made it home. It's about a family holding on to hope for as long as they could. And it's about a community that came together, determined to bring her home. Even though the search has ended, the grief, the mystery, and the heartbreak remain. And so do the questions. What happened after Tayla left Surat that day? Did someone follow her? Did she get lost? Or was there something or someone waiting in the silence? Only time and continued investigation will tell. But one thing is certain: Tayla Spies' story matters, and she will not be forgotten. What started as an ordinary Monday morning in South Wales quickly spiraled into a heartbreaking mystery. Joanne Jones, a 49-year-old woman from Pontypridd, was reported missing on October 21st, 2024. Her sudden disappearance sparked widespread concern and an urgent, all-hands-on-deck search effort from her local community, the media, and multiple rescue agencies. Around 9:45 a.m. that day, Joanne was last seen walking through Vale Gardens in Pontypridd. It's believed she was heading toward Graegwen Road, possibly en route to Llanwno Forest. Now, for those who don't know, Llanwno is a vast, rugged area popular with walkers and cyclists. Beautiful, but dense and steep. A place where someone could easily go unnoticed. CCTV footage gave us our final glimpse of Joanne. She was dressed in a dark green coat, black leggings, walking boots, and she carried a black rucksack. She appeared calm, even cheerful, smiling and waving at a passing car. But that was the last time anyone saw her. As soon as the report came in, South Wales Police launched an extensive search, and they didn't waste time. Specialist officers trained to navigate difficult terrain were deployed. Drones scanned the landscape. A police helicopter from the National Police Air Service provided aerial support. Even mountain rescue teams and search dogs were called in. The search scale was massive, and it reflected just how seriously everyone was taking her disappearance. Chief Inspector Matt Rowlands expressed deep gratitude to the public, acknowledging how many locals came forward to help. He did, however, urge caution, reminding everyone not to endanger themselves and to work closely with search authorities. The police appealed for dashcam or doorbell footage from areas like Graegwen, Llanwno, Purslin, and Inner Seibol, especially from around 9:30 a.m. on the day Joanne went missing. The community response was overwhelming. Volunteers assembled at the Inner Seibol Rugby Club to form search parties. Despite heavy rain and challenging terrain, they pressed on, driven by hope, determination, and a shared concern for one of their own. But then, 6 days later, came the news no one wanted to hear. On the evening of Saturday, October 26th, a woman's body was found during the search operation. The following day, it was confirmed. The body was that of Joanne Jones. Police stated that her death was not being treated as suspicious. Joanne's family, heartbroken, thanked everyone who had helped in the search. They asked for privacy as they began to process their unimaginable loss. Detective Chief Inspector Emma Hampton extended her condolences, recognizing the collective effort from emergency teams and volunteers. Even though the search had come to an end, the questions had not. Why did Joanne head toward Llanwno Forest that morning? What was in her rucksack? And how did her body go unnoticed for nearly a week in a place so often visited by hikers and cyclists? We may never fully understand what happened in those final hours. But what's clear is this tragedy's impact on the people of Pontypridd. The sense of community, the tireless search efforts, and the outpouring of support showed how deeply loved and valued Joanne was. And while police found no evidence of foul play, the mystery surrounding her final journey lingers. What do you think happened to Joanne Jones? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to see more stories like this, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a case. Stay safe and take care of each other. Imagine waking up to find that someone you love, someone you just spoke to, has vanished without a trace. One moment, everything is fine, and the next, silence. This is the heartbreaking story of Jolissa Fuentes, a 22-year-old woman from Selma, California. Her disappearance in 2022 didn't just leave her family desperate for answers. It raised countless questions and sparked a long, painful search filled with frustration, hope, and tragedy. Jolissa was the kind of person everyone admired. A devoted daughter, a reliable friend, and a hard-working young woman who stayed close to home and close to her family. She lived with her parents, helped around the house, and never caused trouble. She was, in every sense, someone who had her life ahead of her. On the night of August 6th, 2022, Jolissa had been at a family gathering. Everything seemed normal. She went home, stayed for a bit, but at around 3 a.m., she decided to leave. No one knows exactly why. Maybe she just needed a moment to herself. Maybe something was on her mind. She drove off into the quiet California night. At 4:06 a.m., surveillance footage captured her at an AM/PM gas station in Selma. She bought a few snacks, looked calm, and then walked back to her car. That would be the last confirmed sighting of her. When morning came and her family realized she hadn't come back and her phone wasn't ringing, concern quickly turned to panic. This wasn't like her. Jolissa was always in touch. She didn't just disappear. Her mother reported her missing right away. But initially, police didn't treat it as urgent. There was a painful delay in mobilizing a search. The family, knowing something wasn't right, took matters into their own hands. They posted flyers, called news stations, and spread her photo all over social media. They begged for the public's help. They organized search parties, retraced her possible routes, and pushed harder and louder for attention. And slowly, the case began gaining traction. Investigators started digging deeper. They reviewed camera footage. They accessed her phone data. And then came a possible lead. A phone ping near Pine Flat Lake, a mountainous, remote area northeast of Selma. It wasn't a place Jolissa normally visited. The roads were steep, isolated, and dangerous, but if her phone had been there, maybe she had too. Search teams were sent to the area, but it was massive, covered in thick brush, rocky slopes, and hidden paths. They searched for days and found nothing. Weeks passed, then months. The trail felt like it was going cold, but Jolissa's family never gave up. They returned to the Pine Flat Lake area over and over, praying they'd see something others missed. They didn't stop. And then on October 10th, 2022, 65 days after she vanished, a volunteer saw something strange down a deep ravine near the lake. It was a vehicle, Jolissa's car, wrecked and hidden far below the road, invisible unless you were looking from the right angle at just the right spot. Inside the vehicle were human remains. Days later, authorities confirmed what her family had feared, but never stopped trying to understand. It was Jolissa. The official conclusion was that there were no signs of foul play, that it appeared to be a tragic accident, that Jolissa may have lost control of her car on one of the winding roads and plunged off the side, where she remained undetected for weeks. But not everyone is satisfied with that explanation. People still ask, why did she go there? Was she meeting someone? Was she upset? Was it truly an accident? Or is there more to the story? Even today, the answers feel incomplete. What we do know is that Jolissa Fuentes was loved, that her family moved mountains to find her, that a community came together in search of truth, and that her disappearance and the devastating end reminded everyone just how fragile life can be. Her case wasn't just another headline. It was a call to listen closely, to act quickly, and to never stop searching for the people who go missing. Her mother once said, "I'll never stop looking for her, dead or alive." And she meant it. And because of that fierce love and determination, Jolissa was brought home. The grief hasn't ended, but the silence finally has. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think happened to Jolissa Fuentes? Was it truly just an accident? Or is there a part of this story that's still hidden? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if this story moved you, please share it, because awareness makes a difference. And sometimes, that awareness is the only thing standing between a family and the answers they deserve. In the remote heart of northwest Queensland, a haunting mystery unfolded. A story that would capture the attention of a nation. A story of a young woman, full of life and dreams, whose sudden disappearance left behind silence, confusion, and heartbreak. This is the story of Wright-Finger. T was just 19 years old, a vibrant young woman from the Northern Territory, full of energy, spirit, and love for working in the outback. She had a passion for horses, the land, and for life itself. Her friends called her warm, bubbly, always the kind of person who made others feel brighter just by being around. But on October 16th, 2022, everything changed. T was last seen in the small town of Richmond, located more than 500 kilometers west of Townsville. That morning, a friend dropped her off near a blue Toyota Prado, a vehicle that had been reported fraudulently obtained from Proserpine, a coastal town nearly 700 kilometers away. How she came into possession of that car remains unclear and troubling. But then came the chilling clue. Surveillance footage from a local roadhouse captured T's final moments in public. In the video, she's seen calmly walking in, dressed in a light pink and purple dress, sandals on her feet. She buys a drink, smiles faintly, and heads back out into the dry, open heat of Richmond. She looked okay, composed, not distressed. But what was going through her mind? That CCTV footage would be the last confirmed sighting of her alive. After that, T vanished. Her phone pinged only once more, 2 days later, briefly connecting to a tower near Richmond. And then, complete silence. Her disappearance triggered a massive search effort. Police, helicopters, drones, SES volunteers, and local residents came together, combing over 700 kilometers of rugged terrain. Every trail, every bush track, every hint of movement was followed up on. But there was no sign of T, no answers, just more questions and heartbreak. Her family pleaded publicly, begging anyone with information to come forward. Her mother, devastated, couldn't understand what had happened to her bright, beautiful daughter. Was she out there? Scared, lost, needing help. Days turned into weeks. Hopes began to fade. Then, on November 30th, more than 6 weeks after she went missing, a mustering helicopter spotted something deep in the bush, north of Richmond. It was the blue Toyota Prado, abandoned, still, hidden in the scrub on a remote cattle station called Lucerne Station. And just 600 meters away, searchers made the discovery that everyone feared, but somehow expected. Human remains. They were believed to be T's. Police confirmed there were no signs of foul play. Her death was not being treated as suspicious. But for many, it didn't make sense. Why had she taken the car? Why did she end up alone in such a remote and unforgiving place? Was she running from something or someone? The vehicle was found in terrain so isolated you wouldn't just end up there by accident. Was she trying to disappear? Or was she lost and unable to make contact? Could she have survived longer if she'd been found sooner? The questions kept coming, but the answers never did. Her family, crushed by the news, remembered her not for how she was found, but for who she was. A fearless soul, a girl who lived for adventure. Her friends described her as someone who lifted the mood of a room, who always wanted to help others before herself. Wright-Finger's story isn't just a tragedy. It's a call to understand the silent struggles people may be facing, a reminder of how quickly life can turn and how important it is to reach out, to check in, and to listen, even in the wide open spaces of Queensland, where the horizon stretches forever. Sometimes the weight of what someone carries can be invisible. T's memory now lives in the hearts of those who loved her, and in the hope that her story might help prevent another, because sometimes even the brightest lights flicker out too soon. What would you do if someone you loved vanished without a trace, leaving behind only cryptic clues and no clear answers? This is the chilling case of Yulia Solodyankina, a brilliant 22-year-old Russian student full of potential with a bright future ahead. One moment, she was living her life in Edinburgh, studying physics, performing as a passionate dancer. The next, she was gone. No explanation, no warning. What happened to Yulia? Why did she suddenly travel miles away from everything she knew? And why do so many questions remain unanswered to this day? Let's unravel the strange and tragic mystery of Yulia Solodyankina. Yulia was originally from Moscow, Russia. She had moved to Edinburgh to pursue her dream, studying physics, a subject she excelled in. Friends described her as intelligent, kind, and full of life. Dancing was her passion. She was part of Caras, a traditional Russian dance group. To those around her, Yulia was energetic, talented, and had everything to look forward to. But in the days before her disappearance, something changed. She became distant. She stopped responding to messages. She missed important events. It was as if she was fading away. Was she hiding something? Was she afraid? Or was there something far more sinister going on? Here's what we know. On June 4th, 2013, Yulia was last seen at her flat in Edinburgh. She told her friends she'd be away for a few days, but she never said why. 2 days later, CCTV footage captured her at Buchanan Street bus station in Glasgow. She had travelled there alone, but for what reason? No one knew. The following day, more CCTV footage surfaced. This time, Yulia was at Glasgow's Queen Street station. She was calm, carrying a small bag. But what was her destination? Her friends and family became worried when she never returned. They reported her missing on June 12th, 2013. This was completely out of character. Investigators began retracing her steps. They found that Yulia had travelled far beyond Glasgow. She had gone to Arisag, a quiet coastal village in the Scottish Highlands. From there, she was last seen heading toward the Lochaber region, an area known for its vast landscapes and rugged beauty. But why? Was she meeting someone? Was she running away? Or had she walked straight into danger? For 6 months, there were no answers. Then on December 9th, 2013, a grim discovery. In a secluded area near Lochaber, difficult to access, human remains were found. It was Yulia. Authorities ruled out foul play. The official cause of death? Suicide. But not everyone was convinced. Why did she suddenly travel miles away without telling anyone? Why did she vanish from the life she loved? And if this was her choice, why did it take months to find her? To this day, many believe there are still unanswered questions. Yulia Solodyankina's case is a heartbreaking mystery. Officially, it was ruled a suicide. But doubts linger. Her friends, her family, and those who followed her story still wonder, was this truly her choice, or was something more sinister at play? Whatever the truth is, we must remember Yulia as she was, a bright, talented young woman whose life ended far too soon. And if there's one thing we can take from her story, it's that we should always check in on those around us. Sometimes the smallest sign can be a silent cry for help. So tell me, what do you think really happened to Yulia Solodyankina? It was a cold January morning in Linton, North Dakota, when Heather Caras stepped outside and vanished. No warning, no signs, no goodbye, just gone. Heather was 39 years old, a devoted mother of 2 teenage boys. Her eldest son, 18, has special needs, and Heather was his legal guardian. Her life revolved around caring for him, protecting him, loving him. On the morning of January 24th, 2025, Heather told her younger son she was going to warm up the car. Simple, routine. She asked him to watch his older brother for just a little while, but that moment would be the last time anyone ever saw her. Time passed. Her younger son waited. Then, he made his way to school, walking through the cold North Dakota air. And when he arrived, he told his teacher something that no child should ever have to say. "My mum is missing." Her loved ones knew instantly. This wasn't normal. Heather wouldn't just leave, especially not without telling anyone, especially not without her children. Her car, a 2000 gold Chevy Silverado, was also missing. The next day, there was a development. A neighbor spotted Heather's vehicle parked near Beaver Bay, about 20 minutes from her home. The truck had been left behind. The keys were still in the ignition. Her shoes were lying a few feet away. It was eerie, chilling. Search crews combed the area. Volunteers, friends, and law enforcement walked the snowy ground, looking for any clue, any sign, but nothing else was found. A week later, canine units were brought in. They picked up a scent. The dogs followed a trail from the car toward the nearby highway. But then, the scent was lost, as if she had just vanished into thin air. From there, the theories began. Law enforcement floated the idea that Heather had voluntarily disappeared, that maybe she wanted to start over, that she was helped by someone, an acquaintance who picked her up and took her far away from North Dakota. Heather did have friends in other states, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, North Carolina. But this theory didn't sit right with her family. They insisted Heather would never leave her boys. Not like that. Not without a word. Especially not when her oldest son depended on her daily. She was his lifeline. No security footage has ever been found. No record of her boarding a bus. No proof she caught a ride. Nothing to confirm she left of her own free will. Only silence. According to investigators, Heather may have taken steps to avoid being found. But again, why and how? What would drive a mother, a caregiver, a woman with no known history of running from her entire life? Some believe she may have traveled elsewhere before her car ended up at Beaver Bay. But to this day, that remains unknown. The mystery of Heather Caras is more than just a disappearance. It's a family torn apart. It's a community left with more questions than answers. And it's 2 boys, waiting for a mother who never came back. If you or anyone you know has any information about the disappearance of Heather Caras, please contact the Emmons County Sheriff's Office at 701-254-4411, because someone out there knows something. and Heather's story deserves an ending. Blayne Ferguson's story is heartbreaking and disturbing because the circumstances surrounding his disappearance suggest something far more sinister than someone simply vanishing. Blayne was just 27 years old when he disappeared in September of 2023. A father of two, living in Vernon, British Columbia. He was trying to turn his life around. His mother said he was finally in a place where he wanted to feel proud of himself again. And then, everything changed. On September 21st, around 2 p.m., Blayne was seen for the last time. The details of that sighting haven't been made public, but shortly after, a video began circulating. And what was in that video sent shockwaves through his family. It was shared on Snapchat, and in that clip, Blayne appeared to be viciously attacked by 4 men, beaten brutally. One of the first people to see it was his younger brother. That video eventually made its way to the police. Snapchat itself contacted authorities. But even now, law enforcement hasn't officially confirmed the contents of that video. Still, Blayne's family was told the truth. They say investigators admitted the assault was so violent, it's unlikely Blayne would have survived without immediate medical help. Yet, no hospital admissions, no reports, no sign of Blayne, just silence.
If you ain't loving, you ain't living.
If you ain't loving, you ain't living.
Emotions were running high as friends and family of missing man Blayne Ferguson gathered in Vernon Thursday evening.
Today was the 6-month anniversary since our son Blayne disappeared. He was taken from us by some very brutal men.
RCMP have not officially confirmed Ferguson is deceased, but the family says they believe that he is.
We want justice for our son, our brother. He was a father. He was a grandson. He was a nephew. He wasn't just a nameless person that you can forget about and nobody will think about twice. The people and persons responsible for our Blayne's disappearance behind bars for a lengthy time. In my eyes, they don't deserve to see the light of day. Right?
Right.
We don't ever get him back. They don't get their lives back. They're walking the streets free. And we don't even have a body yet. They won't tell anybody where they put him.
Despite the graphic video, his case is still classified as a missing person investigation, but police are treating it as suspected foul play. Just days after his disappearance, authorities searched a house in Vernon, believed to be connected to Blayne's case. Not long after, they released the surveillance images of a car, a blue 4-door Toyota Echo with BC license plate SJ828K. They were hoping anyone, would recognize it. But so far, nothing. Blayne's mother, desperate for answers, turned to the court system herself. She searched an online portal and found charges had been filed against individuals she believes were in that video. What shook her even more was that the file number for those charges matched the one for her son's case. But since then, everything has gone quiet. The charges seem to have stalled, no new updates, no justice. And on top of the pain and confusion, there's fear. Blayne's family says they've been worried for their own safety since the day he disappeared. His younger sister was so scared, she didn't even want to leave the house to go to school. Can you imagine that? A family shattered, a community silent, a brutal video, and still no closure. Blayne Ferguson is still missing, but his loved ones believe he's no longer alive. Now, they just want to bring him home. If you have any information about what happened to Blayne, please contact the local police or submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Because someone knows what happened, and it's time for the truth to come out. Shalisa Pratt mysteriously disappeared under extraordinary circumstances. The 34-year-old was last caught on camera, leaving her Hollywood apartment on August 22, 2022. According to her husband Keith, Shalisa had grown distant from him. On the afternoon that she went missing, she allegedly had a breakdown and left their Hollywood apartment. Keith caught up with her at the Greyhound bus station in downtown Los Angeles, where she said she planned to visit family in Atlanta, as she had done a month before. The last time she went to Atlanta, she sent her family a photo of her bus ticket so they would know she was coming. She then turned her phone off so Keith wouldn't be able to track her movements, as he was known to remotely ping cell phone towers to find out where she had gone. This time, however, no photo of a bus ticket was sent. Shalisa and her family did not contact each other. Her mother only learned about the trip when Keith called her later that day to tell her what had happened. Keith tracked Shalisa's cell phone and discovered that her final destination was San Bernardino, for reasons unknown. This added another layer of mystery to her disappearance. Shalisa's strange behavior, such as turning off her phone on one trip but not the other, baffled investigators. They also couldn't explain why she went missing from the bus or whether she intended to return. After Shalisa was reported missing, detectives uncovered a recent incident at the San Bernardino bus station. Someone matching Shalisa's description had been caught on CCTV trying to steal a suitcase. This person was subsequently kicked out of the station. However, the unnerving footage has not been released to the public. Shalisa's disappearance remains a troubling mystery, with far more questions than answers. If you have any information on this unsolved case, please contact the Los Angeles Police Department at 213-996-1800. On April 26, 2016, Michael Modesti traveled to Bangkok to attend an expo where he was exploring the possibility of buying silicone at a discounted rate to bring back to Australia for his tiling business. He returned safely to Australia on May 6th and spent the weekend with his girlfriend and his 4-year-old son. On May 8th, Modesti spoke with his girlfriend on the phone at 10:45 p.m. before going to bed. This would be his last known contact with anyone. On May 9th, he simply vanished. It is believed Michael left his home sometime after 8:30 a.m. the following morning in his dark blue 2005 Mitsubishi Magna 360 sedan. He was reported missing by his family on May 10th. When they attended his home, they found the television on and Michael's personal possessions inside, including his mobile phone and bank cards. However, Michael was nowhere to be found. This is the last known CCTV footage of Michael Modesti, taken 3 days before he went missing. The footage was captured at Adelaide Airport on the morning of May 6th, showing Modesti wearing a light-colored jacket, emblazoned with the word Lee, light-colored jeans, and white sneakers. In the footage, Modesti can be seen leaving the airport, looking around as if searching for someone before heading back into the building. Footage of a similar blue sedan was captured traveling around 9:20 a.m. on the morning he went missing. The vehicle was also seen passing a Light City bus at approximately 10:34 a.m. that same day. A woman who exited the bus walked past the car. Michael's vehicle was found 3 days later, parked at West Croydon. The car was unsecured and left about 15 meters south of Torrens Road, just 3 kilometers north of his home address. Michael had no prior history of going missing, and it was highly unusual for him not to contact his family or friends. Police believe that Modesti had connections to drugs and suspect he was possibly murdered because of these ties. Michael Modesti remains missing to this day, and foul play is strongly suspected in his disappearance.